What's up, beautiful people? How you doing? Welcome back to my YouTube channel, Money Talk with Prue. This is the According to Prue segment. Hi, I'm Prue. Now, this episode, I'm only focusing on one topic. And this topic is the Copyright Fund / One NICO Expression workshop that took place in Popola, Mangoji on the 11th and 12th July 2024. So this workshop, 2-day workshop, is really called the Investment School of Creative Arts, according to One NICO Expression. So let me just give you a brief background of all the bodies that are involved in this. So we have COSOMA, which is the Corporate Society of Malawi, responsible to promote and protect the interests of authors, composers, performers, producers. And we have NICO, which is one of the biggest financial institutions in Malawi, because under its belt they have NBS Bank, Aries Properties, Icon Properties, NICO General, NICO Assets, NICO Tech. So COSOMA and NICO, COSOMA and NICO are the ones who came up with this Investment School of Creative Arts. So the first thing was that COSOMA created the Copyright Fund, which is the fund which is to support arts and culture in Malawi. Under that fund, the Copyright Fund, they wrote a proposal, I'm sure, to a lot of organizations to help them support this Investment School of Creative Arts. And they approached several organizations, and NICO happened to be the organization that responded in their favor and sponsored this project. So that is why the whole event was under the Copyright Fund and One NICO Expression. So One NICO Expression is also a program under NICO. So we have COSOMA, we have NICO. Under NICO, we have One NICO Expression. Under COSOMA, we have the Copyright Fund. So the Copyright Fund and One NICO Expression came together to now bring about the Investment School of Creative Arts. The main reason of establishing this school is because both COSOMA and NICO noted that there's a gap in financial literacy, specifically in the creative sector. So we're looking at the writers, at the musicians, at the producers. They make money doing all these nice creative stuff, but they don't know how to save that money, how to make that money stretch so that it works for them even when the time comes when they are not able to produce, when they're not able to perform anymore. So the whole reason for this workshop, for this school, is to teach creatives in different sectors in the creative industry ways to learn how to use their talents to make money. So according to the Group Managing Director, Mr. Vizenge Kumwenda of NICO Group, the creative industry is one of the critical areas that they believe has great potential to grow and contribute significantly to the economy of Malawi. So the Copyright Fund also believes the same thing. So because of this common belief, these two projects, the Copyright Fund and the One NICO Expression, came together to create the Investment School of Creative Arts. Okay. So that's what the school is. Now, the topics that were taught at this school are art as a business, financial and investment management, like sourcing of funding, investment planning, retirement planning, general insurance, project management, which includes the writing of proposals, legal. So we spoke about labor, commercial laws, laws on contracts and piracy, intellectual property, copyright, industrial property, branding and marketing, monetization of your works, and advertising. So it was a wide range of topics. All these topics, somehow they affect the financial aspect of the creative sector. So that's why these topics were listed. I'm not sure if these will be the same topics going forward because, as I said, this is a project and this is a 3-year project. So we should expect another cohort for next year, June, July, of 50 creatives, and then 2026 as well of 50. The goal is to graduate at least 150 creatives from this school. So one of the common topics that I saw in most of the creative groups that I'm in was the selection process. How did they select who should go there? Why were some of us left out? How come this is all strictly by invitation? So why are they doing the flyer if this is strictly by invitation? They did not explain to us why they invited us, but I managed to see and at least gauge myself to be able to give an opinion as to why this was so. Not exactly sure why the exact people were selected, but why they couldn't take everyone this first time around. So first of all, they're just launching this thing. This is new. So they are learning as they go. And second of all, the selection of who goes there was up to the copyright fund, was up to COSOMA. NICO had nothing to do with that. NICO is sponsoring with their financial muscle, but COSOMA was supposed to do everything else. So the selection of people, the coordination, the program they did do together with NICO officials, but the selection, which was most talked about in the groups, was done by COSOMA. What I can tell is that, first of all, because of budget limits, there is no way they could take everyone, and everyone is a lot. So they only managed, because they want to graduate 150 creatives by the end of the project, they only managed to do 50 creatives. And in those 50, they had to be diverse in their selection. So first of all, you have to be somebody who is in the creative sector. You may be or may not be registered under COSOMA, but you should be in the creative sector. So you should either be a musician, an artist, a poet, a writer, a podcaster, mentioned writers, producer, videographer, photographer, all that. So they had to make sure that this 50 collective of these creatives are all diverse and that they will represent some sector. Granted, I will say there were a lot more musicians than the other parts, the poets, writers, and whatnot. But I think it's because COSOMA, much as it deals with other areas like the photography and the poetry and the writing, the majority of the people they deal with, the creatives they deal with, are musicians. So there were a lot more musicians represented. Why those particular musicians were selected, I don't know. But they must have had some way of still trying to mix them up. So the diversity in the musicians that were selected were that some were gospel artists, others were secular musicians, others were rappers, others were strictly singers, and just people who sing different types of music. So that is how they managed to diversify the group. For the next selection, you may be surprised that most creatives that will be in there, there may be a lot more producers. There may be a lot more videographers. There is no set standard, I should say, about the selection. But we have to understand they're operating on a limited budget. So that is why they had to select just a few. And all these lessons that we learned there, they're like, it's as I've listed them, there's so much. There is no way each and every one of us who went there like grasped everything and then we'll do everything that we heard from there. I just hope that we'll do at least one thing. And it's topics that we need to review time and again as we go. And much as this was targeting the creative sector, the lessons there were for everyone. Because we all need to know how to brand ourselves, no matter what business you're doing. We all need to learn how to save money. We all need to plan for our retirements. We all need to know how to legally protect ourselves when we are getting in any kind of business. So these lessons are very important to everyone. And I will be doing a bunch of videos like breaking down each of those topics. Because for us, we had 2 days to go through them. And we'll still be learning more and researching more about them to understand them. So there's no way I can say everything that we learned there. But the Copyright Fund and the NICO group were only focusing on the creatives because, as I said, they believe that it's a sector that, if well managed, can be something that will help the country as a whole. And because of that belief, the guests of honors that were invited to this event were the Honorable Owen Chomanika, who is the Deputy Minister of Local Government, Unity and Culture, and the CEO of NBS Bank, Dr. Kwanele Ngwenya. So you can see that inviting these top, very much important people, and especially having the top government representative be at the function, it means NICO and COSOMA are taking this very seriously, and they wanted us, the attendees, to also understand that this investment that they have given to us is not something to be taken lightly, because NICO would have chosen to take that funding, which is about 45 million, to put it to something else. In one of the speeches, I think it should be by Dr. Ngwenya, he did mention that 45 million can easily build, 5 or 6 school blocks. It can buy some huge, like a machine at a hospital that will help other patients. So those are all like foregone opportunities that this money would have gone to, but they decided to invest it in the creative sector. So these lessons, they really want us to grasp them and implement them in our lives, because when we better our lives as like at an individual level, it overflows to the family level, which overflows to the community level, which overflows to the country level. So they are investing in the country through investing in us, the creatives. The speakers. So we had a lot of talented speakers, well-learned speakers. We had Daniel Dunga, who is the CEO of NICO Asset Managers. He spoke about financial and investment management. And his topic, I can just sum it as, whatever money we make, we should do our best to save a little of it. 10%, 20%. Like, don't just spend everything. And he did have a bunch of models showing us, if you were to start investing at 30, at 35, even at 40, like, it's possible for you to retire at 70, 80 with a good amount of money. So let alone, what if you start investing in your 20s? You even have a lot more money. So his message was centered mostly around that. No matter how much money you make, you should know that you are able to save a little of it. Like, you should know that that's what you are able to do. If you don't do it, that's like your choice, but you are capable of doing that. And he did offer his services for free to all the creatives in there, which I'm sure it is to any creative. If you go to NICO Assets, ask for Daniel Dunga, or just go on their website, find his email, write him about what kind of investment you can do with a certain amount of money that you have. He's very free and open to help. Our second speaker, well, these were not in that order because they were like 2 different days and separate speakers, but we had these speakers there. We had Lorraine Mlenga, who is the group head of marketing and customer experience for NICO Holdings. She spoke about marketing and branding. Her message was, no matter what we do or we don't do, people will form opinions. So you have to be careful the message you are sending out. People can judge you just by looking at you, and they can judge you by the things that you write online. They can judge you by the things that you say wherever you are, not just in your business sector, but wherever you are. She gave an example of once she was traveling in a plane and she met one of our very famous artists. She didn't mention who, but she did say he was such a nuisance on the plane. And it was a lesson of like, you don't know who is in your vicinity when you're doing things. According to her, if a proposal from this artist came on her desk to sponsor something, her answer would be no. And this is solely based on the behavior that he displayed on the plane. It may be that this was a once-off thing, he's a nice person or he's a good artist, but because of that behavior, she wouldn't want her brand or the company that she works with to be associated with such kind of bad behavior. So wherever you are, you should know that somebody is judging you, and you may not know who will one day be responsible to either offer you an opportunity or to take it away from you. So always behave yourself, always be kind, and always be somebody who represents what you want other people to really think of you. We also had Chomanika, who is the acting chief operations officer at NICO Life, and he spoke about insurance and pensions. This was about like life insurance, car insurance, equipment insurance for creatives like photographers, videographers, and for cars, it's obviously for anyone. And there was also life insurance. So there were insurance policies that were described to us that are funeral policies or just life insurance in general. Funeral policies, which is, I think now the society is welcoming it, but way back when it was like a taboo if you buy a funeral policy. It's like you're planning to die, you're wishing yourself bad luck. But right now it is a smart thing to do. And their policies are quite cheap. There is one that you can actually just pay 800 kwacha a month, and you can receive, or your loved ones can receive a substantial amount of money. I think it's about 1 million or so to help with the funeral preparations. So you start from 800, there's one for 1,500 and another for about 3,000. So there's like several options, but the point is it is cheap, 800 kwacha. I'm sure the majority of you, actually, if you're watching this, you've bought a bundle which is like more than 800 kwacha. You should be able to buy yourself a policy like that. We also had Mr. Benjamin Kajigamba, who is from COSOMA, spoke about stuff from COSOMA. There was also Mr. Edgar Kachere, who is he's a board member at COSOMA, but he's also a practicing lawyer. He's of the Edgar and Davis duo. So he spoke about contract management. So he went through the whole process of what a contract should look like, why you should have a contract, when you should have a contract, which is almost always when you're having an agreement with somebody and there's like a monetary exchange and a service exchange happening. He emphasized that most people may be running away from doing contracts because they're all about this legal jargon and there are these long 10, 15, 20-page documents when they're not really supposed to always be like that. Even a one-page contract can work. You write your details, the two parties involved, what the service is, what the compensation is, when it should be, what happens when one breaches the contract. As simple as that. And he, like David Dunga of NICO, he also offered his services for free. He does these things for free, specifically for artists, especially for artists, for creatives, because he is a creative as well. So he's seen the abuse that goes on when there's no contract in sight. So he can help you to create a contract. If you are an artist, you've been hired to do a gig somewhere, you can have this template of a contract. For example, let's say maybe you are like independent, so you don't have all these legal documents. He can help you come up with a document, a simple contract for that performance. He can help music like management companies to come up with agreements between the management company and the artist. He can help you as a photographer. You want to go do a job for a corporate company. Maybe it's a documentary for an NGO. He can help you come up with terms and conditions that are in your favor. And as I said, he does these things pro bono, which means for free. All you need to do is contact him. I'll leave his email in the description box below. We also had on Benjamin Kajigamba, who is the documentation officer at COSOMA. He spoke about intellectual property. This topic, it went over my head a bit, but because it was like really deep stuff about intellectual property, he's also available. I'm just gonna put his email in the description box for you to maybe contact him and understand well. But in summary, it is about you protecting your creations. So it can be a beat, it can be a whole song, it can be a book you wrote. So how to go about securing it so that nobody copies it. And if they do, the steps that you can take to make sure that they pay for your work. We had Q Malewezi, who is a writer and a poet, and he is also, I'm not sure if I'm getting this correctly, but he is the State House representative of all the creatives in Malawi. So he represents us in government. So he spoke about managing art as a business. It was well detailed and very informative. Again, I'm going to do like a whole video on all the things that he spoke, all the things that each of those speakers spoke about. But his was centered really on how us as creatives can manage our talent, make sure we get paid for our talent, and then also work with government, not directly, but in such a way that government can properly recognize that the creative sector is important and can contribute significantly to the economy of Malawi. So this is it about the Investment School of Creative Arts. These are all the things that we learned, all the people we met. And as a reminder, the topics were art as a business, not in that order, by the way, but we had art as a business, financial and investment management, retirement planning, project management, which includes proposals. Oh yeah, on the proposals. Ooh, I've forgotten who spoke about this. But I will indicate again in the description box below. So on the proposals, we went through how the proposals to COSOMA are supposed to be written. So COSOMA, again under the corporate fund, they fund different projects and people have to apply. I think the last funding was done in April. So they fund things like a music event, They funded Kweza. If you know what Kweza is, if you don't know what it is, it's like a space where creatives meet to create writings and poets and whatnot. So they created the like uplifting of that space. They funded this local Sika flea markets. What? I'm going to list all the projects again that they funded in the description box so that you have an idea. It is a wide range of things that they fund. It's not just music. So it's art. Maybe you're an artist who actually draws, or you are an artist like a poet. They can fund even like a book project that talks about art. So many different things. So we went through the proposal requirements, how we should go about writing it. And it was not that complicated. It's just that they kept on emphasizing that some people miss out because they don't write everything in there clearly. So it's supposed to be your name or your company name, the details there. You describe your project in detail, what it is, the goals of those projects. They need to be listed very, very clearly. And then the strategy. How are you going to go about achieving those goals? Again, very, very clear. You should not leave anything unexplained. The ones going through the proposals need to be guessing. For example, let's say you want to teach kids how to play music instruments. You just leave it like that. Project Dunga in the front is kids to play instruments. I'm going to teach 15 kids. Now you've left it to them. Now they're thinking, which instrument? There's so many instruments. There's piano, there's guitar, there are drums. How do they know which one you want to focus on? Why do you want to focus on those instruments? Why those kids? Why that particular area? So you have to be clear on that. Budgets. Your budget also needs to be very clear. They've run into so many proposals. They have received so many proposals whose budget is only just a whole figure. So for example, somebody would just say, I want to teach kids how to play instruments. I'm going to teach 15 kids in Vumbwe, and the budget is 2 million, and this project is going to go on for 3 months. They have a few things right, but so much wrong. One, they've described the number, they've quantified the number of kids they want to teach. They have said the location, which is Vumbwe, but the problem now comes in with the instruments. I want to teach kids how to play instruments. Very vague, what instruments and why that instrument. And the budget is just 2 million. What is the 2 million going to do? Where exactly is the 2 million going to go? Are you buying these instruments? Are you renting these instruments? From where? Are you traveling to the kids, or are the kids coming to you? Are you providing the transport? Are you providing refreshments, for example? Are you hiring teachers, or are you the one going to be teaching these kids? So most proposals go to them with such vague descriptions. So they emphasized on the goals of the project, on the strategy of the project, and on the budget. You need to be very specific. And finally, they need to identify who you are. So if you're an individual, you need to put in your ID details, your national ID, more especially your national ID. You can use your passport or driving license, but they would prefer national ID. If you don't have that, then you go through that whole process. I don't know if you know them. But yeah, you can use those documents. There's also the Ministry of Culture. Because this copyright fund is under that, you can go there and ask them for a letter, like a reference letter. Because you're a citizen of the country, they do have an office where they provide this reference. If you're a company, then you need to provide your registration certificate. That's it. And the partners or the owners should also provide their ID. That's it. And it's quite simple, very, very simple. It was very clear. And these projects can range from 1 million to 20 million. It just depends on what it is that you want to do. But the ones that go through are the ones that describe everything very, very clearly, from the reason you want to do, what it is you want to do, where you want to do it, how much it's going to cost you. These proposals go through about 5 stages: the people who receive them, the people who shortlist. I think after the shortlisting, there's also another shortlisting, but it's a whole process and it's a whole bunch of people that go through and check these proposals. So if you want to win these grants, you want to make this a very easy job for the people going through these papers. And the other lessons we learned about the legal lessons in the arts business, the legal aspect. So we have labor, commercial laws, laws on property, laws on piracy. We learned about intellectual property. We learned about marketing, branding, and insurance. I think I mentioned that already. But yeah, so those were the topics for this cohort, this first cohort of the Investment School of Creative Arts. Not sure what they have for us next year or the other. And as I said, there will be different creatives who will be selected for that next cohort. So yeah, that's about it. That is the summary that I had for you. And as I said, I'm going to do videos on each and every topic, like separately. And I'm going to do my best to bring in the experts, people who know about these things. They may not necessarily be these speakers that were at this event, but I will bring in people who will help the audience, who will help you understand more about this. But the main goal was the financial literacy aspect. They want us creatives to be rich today, rich tomorrow, rich in the future. They want us to be okay even when we are not able to create and produce things as we're doing right now. That's it from me, crew of Manita with Crew, in this 4th segment of According to Crew. Don't forget to subscribe, to share, and to comment so that this channel blows up and we can reach as many Malawians across the globe. Bye.